Jade Capital Partners midweek webinar. Hi there, my name is Rob Clayton. Well, the Australian dollar shows further negative price action over the last few days. So since we've had the posted bearish outside range day from the rejection of 77.20, the market has continued on with two heavy down candles. And as you can see here, the market actually now looks towards the objective of 74.0515 since we've had the break of 74.80. In light of the current structure of the technical pattern is the fact that we could actually see further weakness if we see a break of 74 cents and look down towards 73.50 with a deeper correction in place to an objective around 71.50 to 72.50. Do note as well that people will be looking out for this 100-day moving average, or there should be talk of it, which comes in around 73.90. So a breaker there would also probably sway the market even further of a bearish sentiment and look down towards those objectives I've just pointed out. In terms of the upside, resistance now comes in at 74.85 with further resistance higher around 76.65.70. But nevertheless, the price action is breaking down and actually more convincing than it has been over the last few weeks, especially with the dollar index now pushing up towards the resistance of on an index of 95.60.65, which if a break there will give another 100 points leeway to the upside. Well, that would also come in favour for the Aussie to break down further as well, so we need to keep an eye on that in the next coming days. In light of the euro weakness, and especially over the last few days of the rejection around that 112.60.80 level, now looks for further potential of a move down, with the immediate support coming in around 111.45.55, and do note it's where the 100-day moving average as well. So it's interesting to see the targets that I'm looking for in terms of break levels to the downside, like with the Aussie just under 74 cents and with the euro coming in around 111.45. And as I mentioned, in light of the dollar index breaking down, does support a further case for the euro, and a break of 111.45 would actually merit for a further fall towards 110.50.65 and then lower towards 109.50.75, that awaited target which has been on the cards now for quite a few weeks. Any advances towards the upside should still find a cap around 112.60.80, and above that the firm hurdle of where the bears are camped out at 113.60.65. In light of dollar yen, the recent weakness back towards that support coming in around 101.25 again shows good demand, and we see another spontaneous rebound, and with the dollar yen making a new high of 103.18 today. In light of the break of 102.70, I am looking up towards an objective of 103.50.55 and holding that view while 101.25 is intact. Now this could actually stretch further to 104.10.15, or even if we look at dailies, we could actually see this move come up to around about 106. So do keep an eye on that in the next coming few days, especially how this market's performing with a bullish US dollar coming through and a weaker yen, is the fact that we could see those upside targets very, very soon. And while we're remaining above 101.25, then this view holds. The Great British Pound pretty much gives up gains over the last few days, and especially when it broke through this short-term trend, no follow-on was to the upside with the resistance holding 133.80. The market has now broken down further from taking out that support of 132.10.15. Now, in light of how the price action is performing, as well as a stronger US dollar coming through, is that the next target in the next coming days holds towards 130.25 and reassess from there, because we could be looking back to 128. But in the interim, with the resistance holding around 132 30.35 and above at 132.90. The immediate support comes in at 131.65, and as I said, lower towards 131.30, and then the objective of 130.20.25, and then reassess from there. The gold price action is breaking down even further now. Now we're under, or challenging that level. We did briefly go under and found support around 1,315. Is that break level of 20. Now re-challenging it at the moment. Any advances beyond there should find resistance at 1,332, which I shall draw a line in here so you can see it. So you can see this area, rejects it, falls away, breaks through 20, now re-challenging it, and we should see a next move down to that bullish channel around 1,300, or pivotal point, some people call it that, or a bullish foundations. Nevertheless, you can see here that if we get a break beneath that 1,300, the next target comes in, which is $50 down, which is at 1,250, which is currently, from a daily point of view, very much preferred, especially the way this trend indicator on the ADX is coming through, very strong, and the stochastic coming in as a negative confirmation that we should see further weakness in gold in the coming days. Well, all eyes have been holding on the S&P 500 the last few days, especially after Friday's drop from 2177 down towards 2106, recovering back towards 2161, and then giving it all back overnight to 2118, and now just clawing back some of its losses and trading around 2133. In light of how the market is looking, is that if you draw a trend which starting from 1,800, you can see here now comes in around 2080.85, and with the pivotal point across the top coming in at 21 figure 10. Now we just lose that. You can see here that while the support holds around 2080 to 2110, then we could see a mild recovery back to around about 2140 to 2160. However, in light of the current price action, and we see further bearishness, a break under 2080 will negate any attempt of a recovery and instead put 2030 on the cards as a potential target and reassess from there. So do keep an eye out in the next few days of this level around 2080 to 2110. And resistance, as I say, comes in a cap around 2152 to 2168. The SPY still trading quite negative in terms of how the price action has gone in the last few days, especially very much since the rejection from 54.34. As you can see here, now challenging this 100-day moving average, which comes in around 51.70, even though we're trading at 52 now, is that I still expect to see further downside weakness, especially how this ADX is looking. So I'm looking towards a potential target of 51.10, and then maybe back down to these lows around 49.70 to 49.80. Any advances should find a cap now around 52.46 to say 52.56. And wrapping up with oil, you can see here that the price action still pretty much respecting that cap around 48.10, as you can draw this resistance here around this region here. Let me just outline it a little bit better. You can see here, so there's around this 48 level, $48 a barrel to 40, maybe just a little bit lower, about $47 a barrel. You can see that congestion areas coming in through here, and I am looking for a further fall with the immediate target holding towards $43 a barrel and reassess from there. In light of how the technical setup is the focus is breaking down and pretty much holding towards that $43 a barrel, and if we get a break there, we could actually see it lower to around about $39, but locked in at parameters of 43 to 48. As I say, that technically we should see it come through to the downside. So just to wrap up, further bullish story coming through on the greenback, and I expect to see the rest of the targets that I'm calling of 74 cents in the Aussie and 109.50.70 to 110.5 in the euro, and 103 to 104 in dollar yen, and 130 in sterling, and 1,300 in gold. And the targets weaker in the stock market, with the support in the S&P around 2080 to 2110, and also the SPY breaking down towards the low 5,100 region. So thank you very much for your attention, and look out for the report that will be servicing this coming Monday.